you so much, Lasse, for taking the time to talk to us. We're nearly a week away from EduFest, so we're very excited to be able to welcome you back on campus and to have you participate at EduFest 2026. Could you please tell us your name, who you are, what your job title is, and what does that mean on a day-to-day basis? What do you do in your job?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back at the EduFest. My name is Lasse Leponiemi. I'm co-founder and chairman for the 100 Foundation, and we are a Finnish-Swiss organization identifying, validating, and supporting education initiatives around the world.
How do you get yourself in that kind of position? I mean, is this something that you always wanted to work in? Is it something that you kind of figure out along the way? And also, especially as a co-founder, what made you feel the need to start something rather than join an existing organization, let's say?
It's been a long journey. In early 2000, I started as a student activist here in Finland. So I was finding it really, really meaningful to work for the youth rights and to think how we can equip mm, the youth ourselves with the best possible skills and competencies for the future. And I guess that passion then led me to work first with the student unions a lot. As a chairman, one of the biggest, vice chairman of the one of the biggest Finnish student unions for some time. And then after that, I started to study economics. But while studying economics, I got really into social enterprises and how companies can work in that blind spot or intersection between civil society organizations, governmental organizations, and companies, and potentially support the system to work better. And then, of course, when these youth and education related things were the closest to me, I started to create and craft something that could work in that position or in that intersection I knew the best. And then in 2008, I founded my first social enterprise here in Finland, focusing on student counseling. Um, then 5 years later, I sold it and we started the predecessor of 100. It's still the same company, only the name has changed along the way. Um, so that's how it started. So I have been sometimes saying that, I went to school, but in a way, I never left. So I have been always just working in this school context.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your session will focus on and what people attending EduFest can expect to hear, learn, or take away from your session?
Where we focus the most as 100, we try to understand why some education initiatives, some education solutions um, are more scalable than others, and why they produce or provide such a great impact with the learners. So in my session, we will be focusing on that. What kind of indicators or factors are needed that a solution can be really implemented well in a school context. And this is a very dear topic for us. We have been working alongside with education providers, but then also with these innovative organizations to trying to figure it out why some of them succeed and some of them struggle. And it's always a dialogue between these different organizations and different stakeholders. So I'm trying to provide some insights and ideas what kind of resources are needed and what kind of skills and competencies are needed when we want to transform our education for better, whether it's happening in school context or more on a system level, because those principles are pretty much the same.
And when you're not thinking about scalability and when you're not trying to identify skill sets, mindsets, attitudes that are needed for this kind of change, what are you doing? Is there a hobby, a passion of yours? Do you like to read, I don't know, sci-fi? Do you like to play the guitar? Tell us a little bit about what you do outside of this very complex and complicated world of education and especially changing education.
At this very moment, yes, I'm trying to navigate the attitude of our 3-year-old who has developed a very strong will to do stuff in his own way. And I think that is actually really rewarding to see how that little fellow is growing up and finding also his passions in this world. And while I'm not with our son then I do quite a bit of sports. So that's actually one of the things that I'm most waiting when I will be back in Switzerland next week. That I get to maybe have a swim in a lake and a run up the hill and back down. So that's my way of recharging the batteries and to balance the working life.
What about a creative output like TV, music? What's an album that you had on repeat recently, or a TV show that you binge watch, or a movie that you would recommend everyone to watch?
I really loved Netflix at some point, but then, we did something crazy during the COVID. We canceled most of the subscriptions because we realized that, okay, this is going to eat too much of our time, and we started to develop a bit of like a new habits or new kind of ways of spending our time. So on the creative side, then that led into these different kind of like cooking experiments, and some of them have been more successful than others. But I think it's the sort of doing something with your hands and creating something together with others. To an extent that I forced all our company employees to have our our annual party and in a kitchen. So it was something that we were doing together. And then from the reading side, there is a Finnish author called Max Seek, and um, he usually publishes like one book every year, and that's my something that I'm waiting every year because those are crime stories. So when I'm not watching it those from Netflix, I then want to read them, in a paper format. So I'm always waiting for the next book to come out, and it's about the time. So I'm hoping that I get it to my hands very soon.
I love your answer about cooking. What's a recipe that you have had kind of become a staple recipe at home?
Something that my wife and my son oftentimes hope me to do is the shrimp risotto. So that's something that at least they like. Yeah, but it's yeah, I like that kind of like a slow cooking, in a way. I don't know if risotto is very
It's a
slow, but
little
it's take like an hour.
meditative, wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, to some degree, yes. And then when you get to pick up the ingredients and all of that, so I think it's kind of like experience itself, and then you can invite friends and family members over, and you can spend time and discuss. So it's kind of like it's more than the cooking; it's more like a social gathering.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with EduFest attendees before we say goodbye to you?
Well, it's been my pleasure to be at the campus for a couple of times, and if you're a first timer, don't fill your schedule too full because you might just want to have 5 minutes and admire. The learning spaces are quite something that where you can learn and take an inspiration back home. And then secondly, come with an open mind. There's a lot of great and fantastic people. So while you're admire with someone else, so you can learn a thing or two, and then you can join a session together. So I think it's a very great place not to meet and find potential collaborations with other education related people.